Good morning, beautiful being. It is lovely to be here with you. It has stopped raining and winding outside, but it's still misting in it. That means it's too wet for the Wi-Fi. So the good thing about that is being inside with the rocks, playing with no drawbacks. And today we're starting with Ollie. This is Ollie Owl. Yes, he does have a name. Good morning, Jen. He got named. He was made in Mexico. And he is made of, believe it or not, gold and obsidian. I've got to catch the light on him. You can't see very well. Am I imagining? No, I'm thinking of the cat that knows himself. The cat that knows himself is made of obsidian. Ollie, oh my goodness, I've forgotten, is made of onyx, black onyx. And you can see the little carvings on his eyes. And he's just a bit of a multi-dimensional gateway, really. If you sit and meditate with Ollie, he's like the Hall of Mirrors. Very self-contained, very shiny, and quite powerful. So there he is. That's Ollie Owl. And this is a really weird thing. I don't know what this is, right? Obviously, it's some kind of concretion, and you think, is that a manufactured rock? But you turn it over, and that looks very natural to me. This came to me in a collection that I bought. From somebody that I used to work with, long story, and I bought it for not very much, and then I actually gave her some more money later because I thought I was just, that was not enough, so I gave her a bit more money. And this is just interesting. I don't know what it is. Good morning, Julian. Good morning, Andrew. So isn't it something else? Really, it's the most crazy thing. I don't even know what these bits are. They sort of look a bit like feldspar or agate. But they're really weird shapes, and I don't know what this is. It's just this strange, pale greeny grey thing with bits of pinky stuff in it, and that's the back. And, if anybody recognises it, feel free to tell me what they think it is. Last but not least, this is an enneagon. It's a 9-sided shape thingy, and it's made of ruby fuchsite. So there are the rubies. And rubies, when they're not gem quality, can be this kind of pinky colour. And the fuchsite, of course, is this micaceous mineral that's green, and it's got these bits of yellow in it. And here's the other side, which I actually really like because it's softer and different. And you can see all the little facets here. This is a really lovely thing. It's a little bit like a wee spaceship, okay? But it's just such a lovely varied piece. I really enjoy showing it off. And there's always something to look at. There is the 9-sided polygon from my school maths lessons. But you always get a little triangle on one side of it unless you catch the light just right. So it's like a little sun. Look at that. Just beautiful little triangles around it. Yeah, really enjoy this. Fabulous. And see, it's got little planes on the side as well. It's got a bit of everything. It's got all the shapes, it's got all the colours, a lot going on for it. And good morning to everybody who's jumping on. I can't tell who you all are, of course. Facebook sometimes forgets to tell me. Sometimes there's just, Facebook doesn't know, but it's lovely to have you joining in. So today's topic comes directly out of a comment that you made, Laura, because I know you'll see this. About, I need to set up a tripwire so that when I fall over and go back to being who I don't want to be anymore, I notice. And I thought, oh my God, that's such a good topic. That's such a useful thing to talk about. And it's one of those things that I'm so used to doing that I forget to talk about it. So I'm very grateful that you just dropped that comment in, Laura. It was just an awesome thing to do. So the problem goes like this. However you choose to create your day, your life, whatever you're doing. For me, it's first thing in the morning because that works for me, and everybody's different. And I get up and I do my meditation, right? And then I go through the day doing my best to embody who I'm choosing to be and who I've been creating and becoming more familiar with and practicing being and all that stuff in my meditation. That's how I do it. Short version. And during the course of the day, things happen, and I either manage to maintain that state of being to some degree or other, or I don't. I either keep my plot or I lose my plot, right? I either stay with the story I'm writing or I head off on some other great detour and lose the plot. So how do I get better at staying on track? How do I get better at noticing, as my inspiration, Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when I've gone unconscious again, when I've gone back to the old thing that is hardwired, automatic, autonomic, I just do it and behave like that and think like that and feel like that, and I don't even notice that I'm doing it because it's so natural and normal to me because I've done it for the past 23 and a half years. How do I notice when I've fallen back into the old program? And by program, I mean literally that there are memories, there is neurological hardware, because when neurons connect up and make a synaptic connection, there's a memory, okay? That's what it's for. You've had an experience, the brain has recognized something new, it's formed a synaptic connection, and you've remembered it. Learning is making new connections, remembering is maintaining those connections. If it's not a big deal, you make the connection, but it prunes apart within hours or days. If you remember it, it gets hardwired in there. And if it's a habitual way of being, be that good or bad, it's hardwired in there. And every time you fire that thing, of course, you get associated chemistry, which conditions your body into feeling the way that you just thought. And because the brain is always spying on the body, if you're feeling a certain way, the brain then by association finds more thoughts that go with what you were just feeling. And so, it builds. That's how it works. That's what I mean by a program. It's automatic. You literally lose your will to that program of how you're being, how you're used to thinking and feeling and doing stuff and being, and you don't even notice it. It's just, this is the way I am. No, it's the way you programmed yourself. Or you were programmed. Sometimes, when we're small, we don't have any ability to say, no, I don't want to be this. We just accept it all. When we get to be older, the brain develops an analytical facility and you get the ability to disagree. So one way or another, either when we're small and we have no ability to argue, we get programmed, and when we're older, we habitually become who we think we are, and that's the program. And you lose your ability to choose something else because you're so stuck in the program. That's the thing, right? So how do you get out of that? It's a bind. And no matter who you're deciding to be, you have these great intentions. You think, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to be this today. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to judge that person that I've been judging for the last 13 years. Whatever it is you decide to do or be differently, it's great, and then you find yourself an hour or 2 or 3 later doing it again. You think, how the hell did that happen? What? That's the problem I wanted to make very clear. That's what we're talking about today. How to get out of that bind. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that you do once you've noticed. But how do you notice? Because until you notice, you're running the program, and you can't get out of the program until you notice. And by the way, the fancy name for that is called metacognition. When you notice, when you see yourself running an automatic program, you think, hold on, I don't want to do and be that. That's metacognition. That's the ability to think about what you've been thinking about. And there's a superpower, because until you notice, you can't make any new choices. And if you don't make any new choices, everything in your life is going to stay the same. Right, so how do I do it? There is a simple process that I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it kind of formalizes and puts a pattern around something that I've been informally doing. So I'm going to tell you how he does it, and then I'm going to tell you how I do it. Because it's one thing to have somebody say, well, this is a process and this is how it works. But it's quite another to think, well, how do I implement that in my life? Right? How do I actually do this, being me, with my brain and my situations and my demands and my everything else's? How do I implement this? Okay? So he has what he calls the think box and the play box. And in terms of meditation, which he also does every day, of course he does it every day, when you're in meditation, you're getting into a state where you can literally create something out of nothing. But the problem with that is by the time you get to the place when you are creating, if you don't know already what it is you want to create, and you're scrambling around inside your awareness thinking, what was it again? When you're in the space of creation, thoughts are things. If you're doing that, that's what you're creating. There's no gap between your thought and the creation. The moment you think it, it's there, it's done. So you got to know before you get there. Because the meditation, the creation space, is the play box. But the think box is when you do your mental rehearsal, when you do your planning, when you decide what it is that you want to do and be when you get in there, right? So the think box comes before the play box. And to put this into a more practical thing, if you're thinking, what's she talking about? Anybody who plays golf, and you certainly know the pros do this, they rehearse the swing. They look at the landscape, they look at where the hole is, they feel the wind, all of that stuff. They rehearse the swing inside their head before they ever pick up the right size and shape of golf club, put the ball on the tee and whoop, So the think box is the mental rehearsal. It's like the high jumper rehearsing the jump before they ever run up and put that pole on the ground and go over the bar. They mentally rehearse it. You run it through in your head. Or the conversation that you're going to have with your boss or your co-worker when you get to work, you run it through in your head, right? Mental rehearsal. That is the think box. And it's not necessarily about practicing something or thinking, I got to do this really. It's like, well, actually, what am I doing today? And I do this, So he does, if he's going off to the forest to go for a walk, when he's getting there, and to have a walking meditation, as you meditate walking, before he gets there, he's thinking, well, what am I doing? He's getting into the space, and he's designing his creation before he actually goes into the creation space. So, think box, play box. It's the first thing. First thing in the day, somehow, even if you do it while you're brushing your teeth, right, or sitting on the loo, or, I don't know, having your morning cup of coffee. I don't care when. But pick a time in the day when, and it needs to be at the beginning for reasons that will become obvious, when you think, okay, what am I doing with this day? Who do I want to be this day? Who do I not want to be today? What do I not want to think? What do I not want to feel? What do I not want to do? And what do I want to think and do and feel, right? So you get clear in your head because there's your think box, and the day, if nothing else, your day is your play box. Just one day. Just for this day. Who do you want to be? How do you want to think, act, and feel? And you get that clear. And for me, sometimes I do it just when I wake up first thing in the morning. It's quite early. I get up early, so I have time to meditate. And, I'm not awake because you wake up and your brain's coming out of delta and into theta, which is between awake and sleep, and alpha, and, and I'm just thinking, well, what am I doing today in my meditation? And for me, it's not a very formal process. It's kind of what's happening? What do I feel? And what did I notice yesterday about myself that, I'd like to change, right? And I may just get a little intuition or a little feeling about it, and I just will go with that. And the thing that I've discovered about my meditations, the way I set it up, the bit that I do at the beginning, there's a little short bit, and then the main, the main course, there's a lot of the think box is kind of given to me in that first section. It's a co-creation with Source. Anyway, so that's how I do my think box. It's very intuitive. Sometimes, though, when I have time and space, I will really spend time in the think box thinking, hang on a minute, and putting pieces together, really assembling a concept or thinking about it, or just letting my brain wander quietly inside myself and, around a question without really trying to pull it to pieces. What's going on here? So, think box, play box. And whether you think of your meditation as your day or the visualization, you see, I don't like to visualize, I want to feel it, I want to be there. But, however you create your new state of being that you want to inhabit for just one day, forget about tomorrow. At the end of the day, and this is the piece that I don't always remember to do because I haven't been playing with this very often, and I make a decision, but it takes me a while to implement it and to find the places where I can graft things into my life, right? At the end of the day, you had these ideals and the things that you wanted to do. At the end of the day, you can look back and think, well, how did I do with that today? How did I get on? Where did I succeed? And where did I fall over and land with my face in a cow pat? Just be honest with yourself. And, I remember, the day before yesterday, perfectly wonderful day, and by wonderful I mean it was full of its challenges and things, but I navigated them and held my space. And in the evening, there were just these random feelings of, I don't know what, but it was kind of like, it was something that was kind of tapping at my awareness, and because I couldn't recognize it, my neurology, my body automatically wanted to go into fear. Automatic response to something unknown, tapping at my awareness. It was kind of coming from here, the side. It's like, what? And I remember noticing it and thinking, oh, hang on a minute. My body's trying to run a fear program here, but there's nothing to be afraid of. What that? And I didn't even feel to analyze it. It was like, no, I'm just going to come into heart currents. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to do the things I talk about. And that was fine. I went to bed. And the next morning, and I remember going to bed. That's what it was. I remember going to bed and thinking, I did okay with that. I caught myself. I didn't go into fear, because my body will run that program pretty easy if I let it. Really will. Still very, and we've got the systems in our brain to help us survive, to look for fearful things and then run away from them. That's the point. But when you're perceiving something that's fearful and your body's doing that program and there is nothing there, it's like, hang on a minute. So I was proud of myself because I caught it and I stopped it. Just a small thing, but important to me. The next day, and I hadn't done much thinking, but I went into the first part of my meditation. And the communication was, hey, that thing that you was pleased that you didn't react to? It was this. And it was a new energy that's coming in to work with you. Oh, well, of course it was unknown. So my brain went, oh, we don't know what this is. This is bad. No, it wasn't. It was really good. But I just had that reaction because that was what my reptilian and chemical brains are designed to do. And I had to overcome it. So at the end of the day, and I will get better at this over weeks and months. It takes me time to institute a new pattern. I just keep picking away at it. I've learned this is how I work. I don't insist, you got to get this done now. It takes me time to build it in. But I continue to think, okay, here I am. I've executed. I've done the thing. I've lived a day. How did I do? How did I do? And so, if you're used to falling into a negative state and not noticing for 4 hours, if you notice after 30 minutes, you can think, oh, I noticed it sooner. I still fell in, yeah, but celebrate the fact that I did not spend half a day doing this thing, feeling like shit, Celebrate that. And then you can say to yourself, okay, and this is what I learned from Dr. Joe. Okay, so there's the situation. Here it was. You wind the tape back in your head. There is a thing. I realised that at about 1:20, I reacted to this. I reacted to something at about 1:20. And at 4 o'clock, I noticed. And first thing was, I didn't beat myself up about it. I congratulated myself for noticing. So that's yay, I did well today, because I used to beat myself up for having that reaction. Yay, I did good. Okay. And then I actually managed to change my state a bit. I didn't just surrender to the state and say, oh, well, I noticed that's great, but I can't change it. I actually did something to change it, and I felt a little shift, and that was good that I made the effort. Yay me. Okay. Now wind the tape back again. When I reacted at 1:20, if I was going to play that again, how would I like to react instead? Who would I like to be? How would I like it to be different? And this is like rehearsing the golf swing. If you screwed up, look back at it. Don't worry about why. Don't look for all the reasons why you screwed up. Think about, feel into how you'd do it differently if it happened again tomorrow. Because sooner or later you're going to get the opportunity. So think about it. Feel into it. Who do I want to be? See, how do I want to think? What do I want to do? And how do I want to feel if it happens again? And so you are, and by doing that, you're mentally rehearsing a different response, and you are literally installing new connections, new hardware in your brain. And you're priming it, right? It's like priming the pump. Let's get this thing going. Can I imagine how it would be to have that person say and do exactly the same thing, but I don't fly off the handle? Well, I feel pretty satisfied with myself because I'm so present in the moment that I realise, oh my goodness, right now I would usually react like this, but instead I've decided to restrain that reaction and be whatever, Oh my God, I can imagine being that present in the moment instead of going ba-doom and off to my normal thing. Oh, is that what it might feel like? How would I act? What expression would I have on my face? Or how would I want to feel? If that person criticised me, would I want to feel good in myself anyway? Like, who cares what they say? How is it? And so you start assembling new neurological networks and having a different experience just inside yourself, just like practicing a golf swing. And you do that before bed, lying in bed, going to sleep, whatever. That's the best time because you're going from beta, wide open, awake, conscious, to alpha, which is what happens when the sun goes down, the brain goes, oh, it's time to go to sleep. We drop into alpha. You start to shut your eyes, you're quietening down everything, you're going into theta, and that's where people go when they're hypnotised. So why not hypnotise yourself? Why not give yourself a new program about who you want to be tomorrow? You go to sleep, you go into delta. In the morning, when you come out of delta, you go to theta, you're half awake, you're half asleep, and you can start thinking, oh, hang on, what was it I wanted to do and be again from last night? Ooh. And you think about it if you can, and then you come up into alpha and you imagine it some more, because you're going into your think box now. Who do I want to be today? Create yourself however you do it. Execute through the day, stay aware, notice, do the best you can, and congratulate yourself every single time you notice and every single time you choose a different state of being by choosing to think, behave, or feel differently, or preferably, at best, all three. And then at the end of the day, how did I do? Tick for the good things, and hey, I fell over there. How can I do it better tomorrow? That's the process, and that's how I do it. I don't have a set time. Be nice if I did, but I just play with my awareness and work at being more aware of my choices and have this thought, I want to pay attention at the beginning or the end of the day and decide who I want to be and see how well did I do. So that's what I wanted to share today. It's very practical, but you end up asking yourself some really deep questions and getting really good answers. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.